Hey everybody, welcome back to Horror Trans. My name is Stephanie Bree, and I'm a transgender woman who talks about all things horror. And today, for Horror Icons, we're talking about Ash from the Evil Dead series. Ash is kind of unique in the horror genre because he gets to be in multiple movies and TV shows. And unlike a lot of characters that appear, or the reoccurring characters that appear in horror movies, Ash not only survives multiple movies, but he gets real character development. And if we're using the final girl trope, Ash would kind of be the final boy, if you will, of the Evil Dead movies. Now, Ash, or Ashley, as he was called in the first Evil Dead movie, makes his appearance in the original Evil Dead from, I believe, 1981 or 82, somewhere in that area. Don't quote me on that, and I'm not going to Google it. So, in that first movie, Ash is kind of along for the ride. He's not really the leader of the group. Um, he is not the decision maker of the group, and he isn't the voice of reason for the group. He's just sort of there. For the first half of that movie, he serves no purpose. He's just one of the characters. He has very little dialogue, very little interaction with anyone else, and the only thing of significance he does is volunteers to go down into the um, cellar to look for his friend who disappeared in the cellar and is treated to a jump scare. Once the Deadites start appearing and the supernatural stuff starts happening, the gore and everything, Ash at first freaks the fuck out. He has not got a level head. In the beginning of the first 2/3 of this movie, he is just a total wreck, a train wreck. And then he, um, I guess it's sometime around the time where he has to realize that he has to kill his girlfriend or his best friend, that he realizes that his survival instinct is going to take over, and he is then, well, I guess that's when his survival instinct takes over, and that's when he becomes uh, the hero of the movie, so to speak. But he's not really the hero. He's just a survivor. He literally escapes with his life just to turn around at the beginning of the second movie, once you get past the recap, to get his ass kicked by the Deadites. And then again, he not only goes into survival mode at first, but he shifts into insane mode for a while where he goes bonkers, loses his mind, cuts his fucking hand off, attaches a chainsaw to his stump of a hand on his arm, and then he snaps. And when he snaps, he fucking loses it. And he just rips the remaining Deadites to shreds, and he takes charge. And then from there on, Ash is no longer a victim. He becomes a superhero. Not just a hero, a superhero. He takes on a new persona. And at that point, once we get through the end of Evil Dead 2 and into Army of Darkness, he has changed. The superhero Ash is what we see in Army of Darkness, and then later on in Ash versus the Evil Dead, the television series. And this is where he gets the reputation of being a badass. But he didn't start out that way. He started out as kind of a nothing character who just sort of happened to survive long enough to lose his mind and then just decide these fucking demon things have kicked him in the nuts one too many times for him to stand up and fight back. And that's literally all he is. He's a guy who was just pushed around and kicked and bullied and punched one too many times and decided, I'm fucking done. This part of Ash, I can very much relate to. As somebody who was bullied quite a bit as a kid and who eventually learned how to fight back and stand up for myself. Obviously, I've never been in a cabin in the woods surrounded by, demon-possessed corpses that you know about. But I can say that I definitely have been in life or death situations where, surprise, I survived. So, in that regards, excuse me, I can also relate to Ash. And this is one of the things I think people like about Ash is he is, once you get past the fact that he started out as a total fucking loser and evolves over 3 movies into a badass superhero, you realize that he's just a regular guy. And that's what people relate to. A lot of your final girls in the slasher movies tend to be loners and virgins and, the good girls. And they don't take a lot of risks. And they don't do a lot of dangerous, stupid stuff. And so they're survivors by the fact that they just don't put themselves in dangerous situations. And they just happen to have a level head on them to be able to escape the serial killer and survive, only to die in the next movie. Or in some cases, down the road in a sequel or 2 later. But they almost always die. As far as I know, and I have not seen Ash vs. the Evil Dead, not all of it. I've seen some of it, not all of it. But as far as I know, Ash never dies. Like I said, as far as I know. Now, Ash, the character, is somewhat interesting and a fascinating topic for a horror icon video. Whereas the Evil Dead franchise is a fucking mess. They're not bad movies by any stretch. They're just convoluted and weird movies. And especially that second one, there's just so much shit happening. It's really fucking hard to follow. For me, anyways. But what you do see with Ash is he is very much aware of his surroundings. And he's able to think on his feet.